Next time you stand at the base of a towering skyscraper, stop and gaze directly up toward the highest soaring roof. You might believe that massive steel giant is completely solid and immovable. But the truth is, it is swaying now. Why do engineers intentionally let megastructures wobble? It is not a flaw or a way to save on materials. It is a brilliant safeguard against total collapse. Today, we will reveal the invisible physics keeping our tallest global monuments standing upright. To grasp the genius behind the sway, we must first understand the invisible enemy, the furious wind. At ground level, a breeze feels gentle, but 1,000 feet higher, gales hit with brutal force. Think of the building as a giant sail. If you build it entirely rigid, the pressure has nowhere to go. All that kinetic energy would focus on the base, the steel would snap, and the tower would fracture. This is where flexibility enters the picture. The structure behaves like a tall tree in a storm. By bending just a few feet, it absorbs and diffuses the wind's power instead of resisting it fully. However, there is a massive catch. If it sways too wildly, the office workers inside will feel sick. Humans are incredibly sensitive to low-frequency vibrations. Even a slight sway triggers vertigo. Moreover, if a skyscraper twists too much, the high-speed elevator cables will slap against shafts. This could permanently damage the elevator systems, trapping people on the uppermost floors. So, how do we allow movement without making the human occupants violently nauseous on windy days? The answer hangs near the roof. Engineers install a gigantic heavy ball called a tuned mass damper. Imagine an enormously heavy pendulum weighing over 1.5 million pounds suspended by wires. When a harsh gust pushes the skyscraper toward the left, this massive steel orb remains stationary. Because of its sheer inertia, the pendulum effectively swings toward the right side of the tower. It physically drags the building back to the center, countering the lean and calming the vibrations. These dampers do not just battle regular storms. They are absolute lifesavers during earthquakes. When the earth violently shakes, seismic waves travel up the foundation, causing chaotic whipping. The pendulum intercepts that deadly rhythm, acting like a shock absorber to prevent structural ruin. Furthermore, you rarely see perfectly square skyscrapers anymore. The corners are always smoothed. Sharp edges create organized mini-tornadoes called vortices that grab the building and pull it hard. By rounding the edges or creating gaps, the wind becomes confused and scatters harmlessly away. Some super-tall buildings feature massive hollow windows near the top to let intense gusts pass through. These empty voids dramatically reduce the aerodynamic pressure dragging on the broad, flat facade. So modern buildings use aerodynamics to dodge the punch, and heavy pendulums to absorb the impact. Before we finish, here is a fascinating historical twist. The damper idea originally came from the ocean. Over 100 years ago, naval engineers struggled with huge ships rolling wildly in stormy seas. An inventor named Hermann Fromm created huge internal water tanks designed to slosh against the waves. The rushing water acted as a moving counterweight, stabilizing the dreadnoughts and cruise liners. Decades later, architectural pioneers stared at their wobbly steel towers and recalled those ships. They replaced the sloshing water with solid swinging steel, scaling up marine tech for the sky. Some of the latest towers even use giant rooftop pools full of liquid, directly copying Fromm's idea. This ensures that the structure can handle extreme weather, without tearing its own foundation apart. It significantly extends the lifespan of the metal skeleton and prevents dangerous metal fatigue. This invisible harmony between flexibility and mass keeps millions of urban residents perfectly safe. The very next time you look at a skyline, remember that those rigid-looking blocks are secretly dancing. They are bending gracefully in the wind, utilizing ship physics to conquer the angry atmosphere above. It is a remarkable trick of geometry and mass that prevents our modern world from crashing downwards. If you enjoyed learning the invisible secrets of towering cities, leave a comment with your thoughts. If you loved these city secrets, drop a comment, hit the like button, and subscribe to our channel.